old Victorian house loomed, a silhouette against the bruised twilight sky. Its gables clawed at the clouds, and rusted iron gates groaned a welcome that felt more like a warning. Emma, 13 and perpetually unimpressed, glared from the car window. "I hated visiting Grandma when she was alive. Now we actually live here." Her mother, Sarah, sighed, her fingers tightening on a tarnished brass key. "The lawyer said she left us everything, Emma. Every single thing, including this charming abode." The word charming hung in the damp air, heavy with unspoken dread. The house felt less like an inheritance and more like a sentence. Inside, the foyer swallowed the last vestiges of daylight. It smelled like funeral flowers, old dust, and something vaguely metallic. Emma's sneakers stuck to the ornate hardwood. Were those sticky handprints near the baseboards? Small, almost childish. "Probably just old polish," Sarah said, her voice a little too quick, a little too loud. Unpacking was a chore, each box echoing in the cavernous rooms. Grandma's belongings were everywhere. Dusty porcelain dolls with vacant stares, antique rocking chairs that seemed to sway on their own, and countless framed photographs of stern-faced ancestors. Emma found herself constantly glancing over her shoulder. The first night, sleep was impossible. The house groaned, whispered, and settled. Emma heard a soft, rhythmic scratching from inside her closet. She told herself it was just mice, or the old house expanding and contracting. But the sound persisted, a tiny, insistent scraping. Finally, she grabbed her phone, flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive darkness. The scratching stopped. The closet was empty, save for Grandma's old fur coat, hanging limply. But then, Emma saw them. 3 words, freshly carved into the inside of the closet door, just above the floorboards. Asterisk, she misses you. Asterisk. A week later, the incidents escalated. Emma woke to a chilling whisper, right next to her ear, so clear it could have been her own thoughts. Asterisk, you ungrateful child. Asterisk, her bedroom mirror was completely fogged, except for a perfectly clear, small handprint in the center. The house suddenly reeked of Grandma's cloying rose perfume. Sarah, too, began to change. She became withdrawn, spending hours in Grandma's old study, poring over dusty journals. She'd hum Grandma's favorite lullaby, a tune Emma found increasingly unsettling. The house seemed to feed on their unease, growing colder, darker. One afternoon, while Emma was in the kitchen, a teacup on the counter slid off and shattered. There was no tremor, no bump, just a slow, deliberate push. Emma froze, a cold dread washing over her. She was not alone in this house. Emma started researching the house's history online, desperate for answers. Old newspaper clippings spoke of a tragedy decades ago. A young girl, Lily, vanished from the property, never found. Her grandmother had been a child then, living in the house. That night, Emma woke to her mother's screams from the attic. She rushed upstairs to find Sarah clutching her head, surrounded by dusty furniture. A music box, identical to one Emma remembered Grandma owning, was playing a distorted version of the lullaby, its lid snapping shut, crushing a spider mid-crawl. Emma found her mother sleepwalking again, this time to Grandma's old bedroom at 3 a.m. "She wants us to find it," Mom murmured, her eyes vacant. as she pressed her palms against a section of wallpaper until blood seeped from her nails. The wallpaper tore, revealing a dark void behind it. Behind the torn wallpaper lay a hidden compartment, smelling of damp earth and decay. Inside rested a porcelain doll, unsettlingly lifelike, with Grandma's exact face, right down to the mole above its lip. Its antique dress was stained brown and still damp. Emma instinctively recoiled. The doll's eyes followed them. Emma tried to burn it in the fireplace, but the flames died instantly, as if choked by an unseen force. The doll's head turned with a sickening crack, its painted smile widening. "You'll respect your elders," Grandma's voice whispered, emanating from the doll's unmoving mouth. Mom started setting an extra place for the doll at meals, serving it tiny portions. "Grandma hates when you chew loudly," she'd scold Emma, her eyes fixed on the doll. Emma's food kept vanishing from her plate, except for the tiny, sharp teeth marks left in the butter. The doll became a constant, terrifying presence. It would appear in different rooms, always watching. Emma tried to hide it, lock it away, but it always returned, sometimes sitting on her pillow, sometimes perched on the bathtub edge, its gaze unwavering. One morning, Emma found her mother meticulously brushing the doll's hair. Sarah's hands trembled, and her face was gaunt. "She's so cold, Emma," she whispered. "She needs warmth." A strange, possessive glint was in her mother's eyes, a look Emma had never seen before. Emma woke with a gasp, the doll sitting heavily on her chest, its weight crushing her ribs. Its porcelain fingers dug into her cheeks, cold as grave dirt. "You have her eyes," it crooned, in Mom's voice, distorted and guttural. Downstairs, her mother was humming Grandma's lullaby, but the tune was off-key, a chilling dirge. Panic set in. Emma scrambled to Grandma's old photo albums. Flipping through yellowed pages, she found a disturbing pattern. Every generation, a child in the family disappeared around their 8th birthday. And in the background of each family photo, a faint, blurry image of the same porcelain doll. A faded newspaper clipping tucked into the last album confirmed her worst fears. Local girl Lily, age 8, vanishes from family home. Police suspect foul play. The date was decades ago, but the picture of Lily was unmistakable. She looked exactly like the doll. The truth slammed into Emma. The grandma they knew wasn't her biological grandmother. It was Lily, the spirit of the vanished child, trapped within the doll, possessing generation after generation of the family's women, seeking a new body to inhabit. Now it wanted Emma's mother, and Emma was next. The house itself seemed to turn against her. Thick, black fluid, smelling like embalming chemicals, began to bleed from the walls, oozing down like tears. Her mother, now a puppet of the doll, dragged Emma toward the attic, her joints moving with an unnatural, jerky motion. Emma struggled, her heart a frantic drum against her ribs. The air grew thick with a cloying sweetness, the scent of decay mingling with Grandma's roses. They reached the attic door, which creaked open on its own, revealing a terrifying tableau. The attic was no longer an attic. It was a perfect, chilling replica of Grandma's funeral parlor, complete with a tiny, ornate coffin. The porcelain doll, now glowing with an eerie internal light, sat inside, its smile wider, more malevolent. Mom forced Emma's hand towards it. "Every family needs an heir." The doll giggled, its voice a chorus of childish whispers. Emma's gaze fell on a dusty, antique fire poker leaning against the wall, a desperate surge of defiance. With a primal scream, she wrenched free from her mother's grip and swung the poker with all her might, aiming for the doll. The porcelain shattered. The doll screamed, a sound like breaking bones and tearing flesh, as thick, black ooze erupted from its fragments, splattering the room. Mom collapsed, her body convulsing, aging 50 years in seconds as the dark energy left her. The house shook violently, a tormented roar trapped within its walls. The black ooze receded, seeping back into the walls. The house fell silent, a profound, heavy silence. Emma rushed to her mother, who lay frail but breathing, the vacant look gone from her eyes. The nightmare was over, or so she hoped. 1 year later, Emma sold the house. It went for a ridiculously low price, but she didn't care. As the new owners, a young, oblivious couple, walked towards the front door, Emma glanced back. For a fleeting moment, she glimpsed a small figure waving from an attic window, wearing Mom's favorite dress. Emma and Sarah moved into a small, modern apartment, far from old houses and dark secrets. Sarah was recovering, though she often had nightmares she couldn't recall. Emma, however, remembered everything. One rainy morning, as Emma was getting ready for school, her bathroom mirror fogged unexpectedly. Wiping it revealed fresh writing, not carved, but appearing as if by magic. Asterisk family is forever. Asterisk her reflection winked back at her, with grandma's eyes. The lullaby, a faint echo, seemed to drift from the apartment's walls. Emma smiled, a slow, knowing smile. Some inheritances, it seemed, could never truly be sold.